Beautiful souls, welcome to another video. This video is going to be a continuation on a video that I did a couple of months back, and that video is still on this channel. And that was becoming radical about love. Now, I'm not advocating for becoming radical as part of some political party or movement as it's commonly used. I'm advocating for allowing yourself to embody the highest of universal forms, allowing yourself to become a beacon for others. See, most people are too afraid or trapped in destructive, selfish states to even make an attempt at being radical about love. And because that is the norm, it's imperative that people like you are willing to step up and be the change. This video will give you a couple of steps on how you can do that. Let's get into it. To become radical about love, you start by practicing self-love as a foundation. This is important because self-love allows for genuine love to radiate out of you. See, you cannot pour from an empty cup, and your universe starts from your perspective and goes outwards. So when you begin to practice things like daily affirmations, meditation, journaling, with the intent to build your inner kindness towards yourself, you see how the universe responds to your energy. A lot of times we have trouble putting ourselves first. You can put yourself first by not judging you, no matter what states of mind you've occupied and what damage you may feel you've done to yourself or to others. You have to honor your needs. You have to set healthy boundaries. And it's important that you make a growth plan so that you can measure your success and see how far you've come. And it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. It can be as simple as writing down a list of things that you want to see happen and start attacking it. Forgive yourself for any mistakes that you've made. Let them go. Punishing yourself is masochistic in nature, and that's not love. So now when you are practicing self-love and you encounter difficult situations and difficult people, it's important that you have a tool to use so that a destructive person or a person who's occupying a destructive mental state doesn't pull you out of the state you're attempting to occupy. The tool that I use is to, or attempt to, see the divine in everyone. This is important because without God or without source, judgment is very difficult to dissolve. It's hard to look beyond the flaws or the faults that we see in others. It's so easy to pinpoint when others have fallen. It's difficult to look at someone who you know has performed harmful actions to you, traumatized you, and still be able to reason with yourself that God is all that there is. And if God is all that there is, then God exists within them. See, your compassion for others grows when you recognize that spark of divinity in all. And if it's coming from a foundation of self-love, the response that you'll see from the universe will astound you. Before you have an interaction with a difficult person, you can acknowledge this silently to yourself. The divine in me honors the divine in you. Make it a point to see beyond distortions. Make it a point to see beyond the fruits of a negative state. Make it your goal to see to the core of the souls around you and to draw out that light within. Now, how do we draw out the light in other souls? When you're becoming radical about love and practicing self-love, you're going to become more aware of the now. You're going to become more aware of your energy, of the things that lift you up, things that pull you down. And just as you're aware of what you need, it's imperative that you be fully present in every interaction. Why? Because your attention, your presence, is love. Being fully engaged with others provides them a sense of validation and worth. Think back to a time when you met someone new and maybe they greeted you with a firm handshake and solid eye contact, and the entire time you were speaking, they were fully engaged, listening, and not listening to respond, but listening just to hear what you're saying. Didn't you feel validated? Didn't you feel like what you were speaking about was important to them? Give that feeling to as many people as you can. It's called active listening. Don't pretend to listen. Don't play responses in your head. Just be there. Whether it's a stranger, a loved one, or even just an animal who's drawn your attention. Anytime you're offered the opportunity to be present for Source, be present. Now, I've struggled with things like eye contact in the past, so I do want to give a method here if that's something that you've had a challenge with, and that's the triangle method. This has been the most helpful thing for me. So what I'll do is I'll start with the left eye, then I'll look in the right eye, and then I may glance at their mouth or nose area, back up to the left eye. Now, I don't do it robotically to pull myself out of a moment, but if I notice I'm having trouble with eye contact, that's what I fall back on to ensure that it happens. It's like it's a trigger for me to start active listening, and hopefully that'll help you too. So now you've been practicing self-love. You see the divine in everyone, and you're fully present in every interaction. The next step to becoming radical about love is to serve without expectation. This is critical because love lives and thrives in acts of selfless service. And I'm not talking about selfless service in the expectation of getting anything in return. Serving without expectation means simply pouring out of the love of your soul. Selfless service breaks down the ego. So someone who's cold, someone who doesn't see the light in the world, much less themselves, your selfless service will help to pull them from the grip of despair and nurture a feeling of interconnectedness within them. And that seed will grow. People remember those moments where someone just did something out of the blue for them, because it doesn't happen. Not today. Be the change. Help someone in need. Go volunteer, or just hold space for someone without seeking recognition or any type of reward. Universal intelligence understands when there's a balance due. You don't need to get anything from anyone in order to have your needs met. If you choose this path of becoming radical about love, in the most miraculous of ways, your life will unfold until you're looking at a beautiful array of something, someone you never thought you could be. Now, the final step for becoming radical about love is to embrace forgiveness as a liberation tool. Holding on to resentment blocks the flow of love within you. Forgiveness frees others from your scorn and frees you from the burden of carrying that load. Remember that all thought is creative in nature. Whether you're thinking good thoughts, thinking positively about where you are, who you are, where it is you're trying to go, the people around you, or whether or not you're repeating patterns of destructive thoughts, your thought is creative in nature, just as is everyone else's. So when you go through a scenario that causes you to experience the emotion of pain, causes you to experience the emotion of hate, the best thing that you can do for you is to embrace forgiveness. You can affirm this to yourself, you can write it down, repeat it every morning, repeat it until you feel it. And that is, I forgive, and set us both free. Reflect on any grievances and actively choose to release them. Forgiveness is a gift. You and everyone around you deserves it. Now, embodying these fundamentals will help to shift your perspective from love as a feeling, something that is temporary or stems from outside of you or triggered by external factors, to love as a state of being, something that just emanates from your core because it's what you are. From this state, you'll radiate ripples of healing that'll transform both you and the world around you. Don't be surprised if you find that people are drawn to you. People just tend to stare at you. Don't be surprised if you find yourself happier than you've ever been before. If you miraculously see through the challenges and the struggles that you deal with, and you consistently find ways to overcome. Tell me about your successes. Tell me about your struggles in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And as always, I love you. I want to see the fullest expression of you. This is The Spark.